Time being 6:16, I call to order the City of Glenwood Springs regular city council meeting. It is September 18, 2025. And with that, first of all, welcome everyone. Happy evening, I guess. And let's do a roll call, Ryan.
Mayor Dame.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelensky. Councilor Townsley. Councilor Schmall. Councilor Weimer.
Here.
Councilor Smith. Councilor Schachter.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ryan. Second on the agenda, agenda changes. Anybody have a change to? Yes, please. Let's see, I gotta get Mayor Pro Tem Zelensky, please.
I move item number 7, ordinance 2025-26 code amendment to section 070-.040.080 residential design standards regarding the use of stucco to a future agenda.
Thank you. We have a motion to move item 7. Do we have a specific date in mind?
I think we were talking about the second meeting in October.
Okay, do you want to add that?
Move that to the October 16th agenda.
Excellent. We have a motion, and Councilor Townsley?
A second.
Second, all in, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and those opposed? We'll see none. Thank you. Any other changes for tonight? See none. Moving on to item 3, disclosure of any counselor's conflict of interest. Anything tonight? No, also not. Great. Moving right through it. Item 4, citizens appearing before council that are for items that are not on the agenda. I have a comment sign up sheet here, and we're just going to go down the way it's filled out. We start with Angie Anderson, please.
Good evening, Council. My name is Angie Anderson. I live outside of the city limits. I'm President and CEO of the Glenwood Springs Chamber, and I'm here on behalf of our Board of Directors tonight to respectfully encourage you to reconsider the decision on the South Bridge tolling. Moving forward with this decision risks forfeiting a $50 million grant. Losing this grant would be devastating to the project and would negate years of work and investment already made in the effort. Southbridge is a critical evacuation route as well as a vital safety and connectivity project strongly supported by voters in 2016. This is a major decision with lasting impacts, and we believe council and the community would benefit from more background and dialogue to ensure the very best outcome for Glenwood. Thank you for your leadership and consideration.
Thank you, Angie. I neglected to say that you have 3 minutes. Everybody who comes forward, please keep your comments to 3 minutes.
And she set a good example.
She set a great example, yes. Dave Rippey.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council. My name is Dave Rippey. I live up 4 Mile at 204 Alpine Court. And I'm here to address the South Bridge project also. As I've read and my understanding is that the reasons for the bridge are a fire connection, escape route, that it's not a bypass, that we've had a lot of money invested in it up to this point, and we're getting some free federal money. Talked to a lot of people, and there's a lot of opposition to this. I'll be straight up with you. They may not all make themselves vocal, but I've got a big mouth, so here I am. But anyhow, the reasons that I've heard, and some of these are mine, and some of them I've talked to people about. First of all, the fire escape route is overemphasized. There are escape routes. It's a misnomer to say that it's not safe. Okay, you can build a car that costs $300,000 that would avoid probably any injuries, but at what cost? There are other escape routes, and I'm sure you're aware of them. Also, and you can call it what you will, but a pig in a suit's still a pig. This is a bypass. Everybody knows that. Everybody talks about it as a bypass. It's plainly and simply a bypass. And as such, a lot of people I've talked to feel it's just going to, and myself included, feel like it's just going to compound the problem. You're going to have people on Grand Avenue and you're going to have backups on Midland. And also I've heard that all the costs aren't accounted for. And this I heard from the city staff, and the staff's done a great job with it. I mean, they really have. They've been thorough and their meetings were good, but you don't have anything accounted for traffic like a roundabout at Sopers Avenue. You know, there are added costs in here that aren't shown up in Glenwood's contribution. Also, we're solving Up Valley's problems with absolutely zero contribution from them. We're footing the bill for the problems that the Up Valley communities are creating. The work that's been done also on this will keep. If we lose this grant, it's not necessarily definitive that we won't get another one in the future. And lastly, people think this needs to go to a vote. You know, 480 Donegan, with all due respect, council had wrong. The airport, with all due respect, council had wrong. That vote was almost 10 years ago. It needs to go to a vote again. That's the sum total of it. Thanks for the time.
Thank you very much. Ben West.
Hey there, Ben West. I live in Glenwood. I'm not fully versed on the issue, but my understanding is that the majority of the engineering and the funding has been secured for the bridge, and that a lot of that funding that's coming from the federal government would be in jeopardy with the implementation of a toll. And it seems really detrimental to effectively give away the free money that we have if that is the case. So I think that the South Bridge is a huge asset to the city and to the community. And I think if we need to keep the toll out of it, we should reconsider that and make that a more thorough discussion. So that we can keep the bridge going and not give up the federal funding. So.
Thank you, Ben. Mark Spidell.
Hello, Council. Mark Spidell. I live up 4 Mile. However, I own property in Glenwood. I have some mixed emotions. I believe I feel in agreement with all of what Mr. Rippey said, but also am strongly in favor of the bridge, mainly because I think we just have a ton of traffic going through areas that it doesn't need to go through because it's eventually getting to Aspen anyway. Yes, Aspen should contribute if that was going to be realistic, but this federal money was incredibly challenging to get to. We could say, oh gosh, you know, maybe there's other ways of doing it, or we'll get it later. But it was awfully hard to get what has already been allocated. So I say keep moving and do a little more work on seeing if the toll can be done in a thoughtful way and not impactful to the town citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Familiar face, Jonathan Godis.
Hello, Jonathan Godis, 1071 Park West Drive. I can't really speak to the amorphous other people that Mr. Rippey was referring to, but I can speak to, as a resident of South Glenwood, that for the last 20 years, every council and the neighborhoods have gone through charrette after charrette. The public engagement on this project has been multi-decades in the works. And I think that we would not be here and having these conversations. We would not be the recipients of a $50 million grant or $4 million from RAFTA or $7 million of congressional earmarks if the community at large did not support this. And while we did have a vote, and the vote it was 9 years ago, understand that that was the last vote. And that was a vote not just to have it or not, that was a vote to actually tax ourselves. And a vote to put money where your mouth is a powerful vote. I also serve my professional role as the Regional Grants Navigator for Northwest COG, of which Glenwood Springs is a proud member of. And in that role, I work with grants. I've written, researched, reported, and organized dozens of federal grants. And I will say that these grants that Glenwood Springs has been lucky to get over the years on South Midland, the 27th Street Bridge, these are really rare. And a $50 million grant is not just something that is going to come along in a couple more years. This is a once in a lifetime. As the former mayor said in our letter the other day, this is lightning in a bottle. We have a shovel-ready project. We need to take advantage of it. When you don't take advantage and you return a $50 million grant or $5 million grant from the federal government, you don't just get to apply for the next one. They're like, well, now you get this one. That's a black mark on your community. And it's just not the federal government. It is also the state government that looks at a community and says, does this community have enough political will to work towards a project for 20 years and actually be able to pull the trigger at the end of the day? So it's not just about this project or just about this 50 million. It's about the next $5 million grant from the federal government, the next $100 million or the next $100,000 grant from DOLA, the next Prop 123 money for the next trailer park that we might want to help community residents purchase. So please don't let this project be the reason that we are blacklisted for the next decade or two for federal monies. Thank you very much for your service. Thanks for everything you do. I live on Midland. I'm Aaron's neighbor, and I can tell you that the neighbors I speak with are excited for this. We do want traffic control devices. We want different tools in the tool bag, whether it's a toll specifically on it or that toll has to be slightly off of it, you still can toll it. We just can't toll right away. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Mark Gould, please.
Council, Mr. Mayor. I showed up. First thing I got to say is that everybody in the room knows I'm conflicted. I not only am a contractor and build roads for a living, but I also have property affected by this. So showed up here with my mom and dad in July 1, 1977. I've been here a while. Okay, so I'm not a native. And I spent my first time talking to council in 1985 because we were incorporated as Norm Gould & Sons Construction in 1979. And so I was trying to convince council to award me a job in 1985. So I've been around for a few years in front of this group. All right. Basically in 2005, council asked the help of homegrown Congressman Scott McInnes, who helped get us a $5 million grant so that we could start the bridge process. 20 years later, we vote it down. Last week, you voted it down. You were told that if you passed the toll, we were taking the bridge down. So in 2016, basically the voters voted to tax themselves for this bridge. I would tell you that in 40 years, I have never seen a council vote against the will of a vote of the people. You did that last week. You took their bridge away without asking them. I would like you to consider rethinking, because you're going against a vote. Now, I understand the vote's 9 years old, right? I get that, but it's the last data point you have. 20 councils before you have tried to get this bridge built. 20 years worth of councils. There's been tens of thousands of hours of staff time working on this over those 20 years. There's been thousands of hours of volunteer time of people volunteering their time for this project. There is not a single study that you can waive. I remember back when we lost the vote for the golf course over where the mall is, and one of the attorneys kept shaking the soils report saying, we can't support a golf course over in West Glenwood. You don't have a report to waive saying that there's a reason we should not have this bridge. Everyone says we need the bridge. Please reconsider it, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mark. Matt Steckler, please.
Hi, Council. Matt Steckler, former counselor, former mayor. Nice seeing all of you up there, and thank you for your service. Appreciate it. I'm here to talk a little bit about the bridge that everybody else is talking about. I too am a strong supporter of constructing this bridge, and I understand the concerns in the community about basically building another bypass. Some people may use this as a bypass. But then there are ways to remediate that. I have to drive a Midland every day. I go down to Mountain Valley Developmental Services every morning to drop a client off, and then I have to drive through the traffic on the way back. And there have been plenty of days if there is a problem on Highway 82, or if there is a problem when they were building the Benedict building, how much that traffic gets backed up and how quickly it gets backed up. It is dangerous, right? I've also been there too when rocks are falling off the side of the hillside there. There is no alternative for many folks. I mean, yeah, you can use dry park, which is fine usually, except if it's covered with snow or if it's a muddy mess. Those are real concerns. Safety concerns are obvious, and I think they're real, but there's also, the county continues to support building up 4 Mile. More and more people drive through there every year. I've been driving this route every morning for 10 years to deliver somebody to Mountain Valley. Okay. Seen the traffic grow every year. All right. We're not doing anything about that at all. Building something that would help with connectivity, I think, is really important. That's the other thing. You can talk about it, or maybe it's maybe we don't want to talk about it. I don't know, but it's real. It would help. I would think it would help our community a lot. There are various schemes, as Jonathan mentioned, where you can toll things and do so in a way that doesn't jeopardize the grant. If this $50 million grant, somehow we lose that because we've decided to support a toll on the project grounds itself, good luck getting any more money from the federal government, getting any decent amount of money from CDOT for the foreseeable future. I mean, it'll be a generation before we see new stuff, right? The traffic around here continues to evolve. It's not all going to Aspen. It's all going all over the place, right? Last traffic study I remember, it was about a third inside this community, a third going up Valley, and a third going the other way, right? And that's not what anybody expected. Everybody thinks it's all going to Aspen. It's not all going to Aspen. It's going all over the place. As we continue to build things in our valley, traffic will increase over time. We have to deal with that, and maybe it's not just Glenwood Springs, but this is a piece of the puzzle, or this is part of the tool chest that we can, get some sort of resolution here. So I strongly urge you to reconsider your position on tolling this project in the way that jeopardizes the grant. $50 million does not come along hardly ever. When Mayor Gamba was working on this, and
Matt, did you hear that? It's the 3 minutes. Sorry. That's what that was.
Gentle reminder.
I know.
Change your mind. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Matt. Okay, that was the list. Anybody else here that would like to speak?
your last one. I'm Carrie Godas. I live at 1071 Park West Drive. Just want to say thank you all for all the time that you devote to city council. I don't come before city council very often because I think you do a really great job and I don't have a lot of concerns, but this would be one of them that I do have. So where I live right by the Mountain Market off of Midland. So I am one of the people who I'm part of the problem with the traffic, but I see it every day. So there's a lot of mornings where I wake up and I look out my front window and I go, oh my gosh, I should have left earlier, or I should leave right now, or I'm just going to actually sit here and wait because I am not going anywhere. So my commute should take me about 7 minutes from my house to where I work near the hospital. And I would say 1 to 2 days a week, it is about a 20-minute commute. So there's a lot of days I am just sitting there, like doing nothing, not looking at my phone because we're not allowed to do that anymore. What I think about when I'm sitting there in traffic is a couple of things. It's pretty concerning. So I can't believe it hasn't happened yet, but I think about when we have a mile and 50 cars piled up, that if there was an EMS person behind me, I don't know what they would be doing because there's no place for us to move over to let that person pass. So there's just, that bottleneck there that we can't get someone to the hospital, let alone in some kind of situation like a wildfire. And in my line of work, I actually work in emergency preparedness and I work a lot with wildfires, and we have to evacuate people incredibly fast, and situations are evolving and very, very scary. And the opportunity to have, well, first of all, I would say if we have an opportunity to build an egress or a place where people can get out and we can evacuate them safely in a time of an emergency, and we pass on that, and we have something happen, like happened with the campfire in California where people died in their cars. As a public spokesperson, I just cannot even imagine facing that situation and having to answer for our community in a situation like that. So for that reason, for that safety perspective, I would say that having a South Bridge is the right thing to do. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Carrie. Anybody else? Either way, you guys figure it out. Okay.
My name is Greg Sustad. I live over by Sopris Elementary on 1113 Westlake Drive, and I'm in the same neighborhood. And I want to speak in support of, how important I think Southbridge is as well. And it's interesting that the gentleman who spoke first, talking to his neighbors up 4 Mile, and then, he alluded to that there would be a lot of routes out in the case of a wildfire, because this is what's on top of my mind, why I would support the bridge. I talked to my neighbors over there, and we're all in favor of the project. I've not come across anyone who is against the project. They all, when I told them I was coming to speak here tonight, they all said good. I mean, overwhelmingly that we think it's a really important project that needs to go forward. I'm a father of 2 kids, and I read a book recently about a wildfire in Canada in 2016, the Fort McMurray fire. And there's all these neighborhoods up on these plateaus where they built the town up in Canada. And there's a wildfire that hit in 2016, and all of these neighborhoods had one route out of the neighborhoods. And there's 88,000 people trying to leave this town, and they're all getting out of these one-way neighborhoods. And a lot of people died. They died in their cars, and it was really hard to read. The book is called Fire Weather. And so when I read that, I look at my kids and I'm like, I gotta, worry about providing safety for my family. And the way the future looks, I don't think it's a question of if there's going to be a dangerous situation. It's more of a question of when. And it really scares me. And I think about, I commute on Midland too to go to the high school where I teach. And, I get stuck there. And I'm just thinking about, man, in an emergency situation, when it's hitting the fan and everyone's terrified and you're stuck in this kind of situation, it's scary. And I think we owe it to the community to build this bridge. And I think we would, if we don't, and we look back and something's happened, echoing what was said before, shame on us, right? We have $50 million to work with this. And like Jonathan said, there are other ways of tolling this project where we wouldn't lose that money. And so I just want to express my strong belief, and from what I hear from my neighbors, that we want this, and we want to make this project work and not lose the money that we've got, because there's no guarantee that'll come back around either. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Please state your name and whether you live in the city or not.
Good evening. I'm Robert Nelson, 1010 Colorado Avenue.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. just would echo many of the comments I've heard about the South Midland Bridge project. Living downtown here, I don't have a direct stake in this game other than as a community member. I think this is an important public safety element to have the South Bridge opportunity. I would be all about tolling the bridge in that I'm a non-vehicle proponent, buses and bikes. Thank you, Councilor Smith, for all you do on the bicycle front. But nevertheless, this bridge is important, and $50 million at the ready is too much to turn down and risk not having this availability for years to come. So I just want to make my voice heard. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else here that would like to comment? Please come forward, state your name and whether you live in the city or not.
Mike Markatoris. I do not live in the city. I serve on the chamber board, serve on the tourism board. Field a lot of complaints about traffic and this and that. And I would have been here early enough to sign up on the sheet, but I got stuck coming from Up Valley in this little, it's like right by the old Sopris restaurant or where the South Bridge would be. And so, I do see it as a nice relief valve, for the traffic issues that we have, safety, all the things, but more so, I don't believe anyone on the council doesn't want the bridge. I believe that we got to figure out a way to fund it. And if I understood it right, that's kind of what the toll was for. We need to find a way to fund the rest of the bridge. Now, the reality is that's not right, but we can get money, from other places. I think that if this vote that we just had 4-3 puts the $50 million grant into jeopardy, I think it's short-sighted. I think we can figure out another way to get those funds. Like people are saying, we can toll off the bridge, we can do the things. But I think I really just encourage you to rethink it, revisit it, and if you can, reverse the decision so we can keep this money and keep this project moving. So.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Anybody else for anything else? No? Okay, I will close item number 4, citizens appearing before council for items not on the agenda. And before I bring it back to council, I want to say thank you. Thank you for all of you for showing up tonight. It seems to be an important issue, maybe an important discussion point for us again. We've heard quite a few testimony, and from what I understand, Mr. Muse, there's also a public comment that came in through emails.
Yeah, we got several emails, I believe 5.
And I think council is familiar with all those. I think we all saw them. Okay. So with that, I will bring it back to council and see if you guys want to respond to any of the comments you heard tonight. Okay, so a hand went up. Oh, I also want to say before we move on, sorry, I closed the public portion too early. We do not take public comments over Zoom when it comes to items not on the agenda because we had issues with First Amendment. I don't know what you want to call it. So bad players. There you go. Thank you, guys. So that was it. But thank you anyway for being there. And hey, IT, Tanner.
Yeah, we need to get over to the panelists.
We might have to go over to the panelists.
I can't get on.
No, you're on, but hey, Sumner, hang tight for just a second. Put your hand back up and we'll start with Mayor Pro Tem Solinsky. Okay.
Yeah, let Sumner speak first,
Y-
'cause I think he was trying.
Okay. Sumner, you want to go?
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you okay.
All right. I consider our job is to make the best decisions we can with the information we have. And I'll make a quick comment. My vote last time was not to kill the bridge. Based on the information I had, it might cause problems, but it wasn't a kill shot. And it was an attempt to keep control and funding for an alternative we were very excited about. Based on information I've had since then, reading federal statute, the opinion letters, CDOT and staff, I would ask Mr. Mayor if I can make a motion to reconsider the South Bridge and the toll as at a council meeting, the October 16th or the soonest one we have a full council attendance. And in the meantime, to postpone any letters regarding the prior decision to the federal decision makers.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Schachter. So before we go into, so this is a bit weird.
Yes.
Because we have a motion on the table before we can finish the comments. I would say we move forward with the motion and then finish the comments.
Yeah, I think if you just, if it warrants a second, if somebody's willing to second it, then I think you just have a discussion around that motion to reconsider at whatever it was, the October 16th meeting.
Okay, let's do that. I'm entertaining a motion. That would be Mayor Pro Tem Solinsky.
I would second the motion.
Sorry, not a motion, a second. We
Yeah.
have a motion, a second to bring this item back onto the October 16th agenda. I like what you, oh, okay. Well, sorry, I was going to get into comments, but I should ask you guys first. You guys want to comment on this motion? Councillor Schmal, please.
So I'm not sure what additional information Councillor Schachter is referring to on this. I think we were fully informed when we voted last time.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Weimer?
I'll point out that the additional information, at least it was new to me over the course of the last 2 weeks, was a forwarded email from the head of CDOT, who essentially said a plan for the toll is a plan to kill the bridge. And it was her educated, insightful, professional opinion, right? It wasn't subjective. It wasn't political. It was nothing remotely emotionally driven. It was pretty objective and factual. And for me,
You haven't done it yet?
I voted, it doesn't change my vote because I voted in the positive 2 weeks ago anyway. But for me, at least that is new information, and my presumption is that that's what Sumner is referring to.
Thank you. You done?
Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Smith.
Thank you. I pushed my little button just to ask a procedural question, but now I have a new question, thanks to Councillor Weimer. Is the motion on the table a motion to reconsider, or is the motion on the table to schedule a discussion? I can't quite tell.
Yeah, so I believe the motion on the table is to schedule it for the October 16th meeting for reconsideration, not to actually reconsider it tonight. It's just to schedule it for that in 2 weeks and to kind of hold off on anything else until you guys, or 4 weeks, until you guys get there.
But in any case, it is a motion to reconsider, to queue up that discussion.
It's
on the
to
floor.
queue up but not to actually change the decision tonight or reconsider the decision tonight. It's to schedule it for that conversation.
Thank you. That's helpful. And then Mitchell, thank you. I now have a new question. I readily may have overlooked it. I don't remember seeing a message from the CDOT director. Is that something that all of us should have if some of us have it? Or do I have it and I just have screwed up?
It came from Steve.
Yeah, I don't think it went to you guys directly from CDOT. It was a conversation that I had with the executive director of CDOT. I passed any information on that she and I talked about, and I copied her, and she had invited each of you to give her a call if you wanted to talk about
I
things.
do have that message. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any more discussion? Is everybody clear on the motion?
Sorry. To want to say something
Councillor Smith?
polite, because when this many people with this much experience and this much dug-inness in this town speak, then it warrants some discussion. So I appreciate the opportunity to hear from everybody. I will be a vigorous participant in that discussion, but I mainly for now wanted to recognize the importance of people participating and commenting on the process. Appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
If I may.
Is someone has a hand? Oh, yeah. Councilor Schachter, please.
Just a quick one to address what was raised on the dais. In addition, I did see the memo or the note from Steve Boyd regarding CDOT. That also triggered me to dig a little deeper. I forget, maybe Carl knows, there's a federal regulations. I read a bunch of them, maybe section 129 or something like that, that also addressed tolling and why, whether deliberate or not, my vote taken, at least last time, may have led to a kill of the project. And this was in the federal regulations. Again, additional information that was not presented last time, nor was it maybe necessary, but I did dig deeper. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, Councilor Townsley, please.
Yes, I would make a comment. There's been obviously quite a few people have showed up at this. A lot of people feel very strongly about it. I hope that I can kind of get a sense for which way this next vote is going to go. I don't think that when I voted last 2 weeks ago that I said I was against the bridge. I think there's a lot of other pieces that play into this. I hope that all of you that are out there that are coming forward when this next discussion takes place or between now and then, because you can act very quickly, would use your influence to talk to your county representatives, other people that might be financial partners in this project, so that when we go back and start readdressing this, there'll be some other people stepping forward saying, yes, we'd like to be part of this, instead of laying all of this at Glenwood Springs doorstep. So I hope all of you will continue your efforts if you want to make this project going forward, into talking to other people also that would participate in this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Schmall.
I listened carefully to everybody's comments, and everybody seems to be focused on this $50 million that we have that's free money. I'd remind everybody, first of all, that that's not free money. That's money that we've all paid into the federal government, that they're giving some of it back to us. Okay? And it's not 50 million, it's 49 million. And at last count, we're somewhere between $1 and $23 million short of paying for the cost of this bridge still. So yeah, it would be great to have that bridge. But I think the reason that it hasn't been built in the 20 years since the fire is because we can't afford it. What's not been considered in all of the considerations so far is that the emergency egress is fun. It's nice. It may save lives, but really what's happening is we're building a bypass. And anybody that doesn't think that is trying to pull the curtain behind the Wizard of Oz there. It will become a bypass. And then all of the rest of Midland Avenue will become obsolete. So that was part of my consideration in voting down right now. We can't afford it, and there's way more future costs coming for it. The only justification for that, in my mind, is being able to toll the bridge. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Smith.
Thank you. Again, kind of a point of process and protocol, with great respect to Councilor Townsley at the other end of the room. I certainly encourage none of us to presume what a future vote is going to turn out to be. And I look forward to a really thoughtful debate, perhaps with some new information at the time we have specified, and that we should not be at this point signaling our votes or or starting to make arguments even, again, with respect. That'll be a much more thoughtful venue to do it at that time. And I would appreciate substantive information, such as the information that Councilor Schachter has come across, but I, for one, have not seen. So sharing of information between now and then, I think probably is acceptable just for data. But I would sure encourage us to save our debate until the time we intend. And then I'll throw in a caveat that I hope that will be a time when all members can be present for that discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Smith. Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
So I agree. I don't want to debate the project on the dais tonight. I will say that I have the benefit of an additional almost 2.5 years of information and conversation around this project. There are experts that have given their professional opinion of the justification, the rationalization for this. We all know that this is landing in Glenwood's doorstep, and it's unfortunate, but that's where we are geographically. My literal backyard is Midland. So I'm very aware of the impacts. I'm very aware of what traffic looks like now and what it will probably look like later. But we have a responsibility to look at this from a holistic standpoint and lean into the information that's been presented to us that has gotten us to this point. And so I agree, maybe we share things in preparation for a future conversation.
Thank you. Councilor Schachter.
Yeah, it's just, I wanted to clarify one thing since I made the motion. I hope it is clear to my peers on council as well as the audience that my motion is for reconsideration of whether we proceed with the tolling on the bridge or not, and whether that decision moves forward as it was or is reversed is not a final decision whether we are proceeding with this bridge, because we still have, above and beyond that, other considerations to make, including bids, final financing, the award of the grant, and other factors before a final decision is made. So this was a reconsideration of one factor that I felt justifies reconsideration on the dais. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Nope. So we'll see none. So what I would like to add for our discussion is there any way we could have a alternative speed mitigation plan or proposal that we can talk about for a few minutes? Is there anything that engineering can dig up that can help us understand that should we move forward? And again, this is a should without the toll on the bridge. Is there any other way we can generate funds? Is there any other way we could mitigate possible traffic impact, speed humps, speed cameras, which are coming, but some sort of a light proposal of, hey guys, this is what we could do. And on top of that, I would love to have regional representation of CDOT at that meeting, so we can actually ask the agency that is willing to administer this $50 million grant for us for free, which is a big deal. Administering a $50 million grant costs $10 million, and they agreed to administer the grant and the funds and help us with this construction project on their end because of what this bridge means to them and to us. And so with that, I will call for the question. To move this item to October 16th agenda to reconsider. Is that correct? We have a motion and a second to approve. With that, I'll call the question.
Schachter is a yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski. Yes, Mayor Dem. Yes, Councilor Weimer. No, Councilor Schmal. No, Councilor Smith. It passes
Schachter too.
Oh, yes, Counselor Schachter, I apologize. It passes 4-3.
Shouldn't it be a 5-2?
Oh, 5-2. I apologize.
Who didn't vote? Dave is not registering. Do you want a hand vote? Yes, no?
I would vote with what I understand Councilor Schachter's proposal is, to look at one aspect of this. I think it's somewhat irregular, but I'll vote.
Could you turn on your mic, please?
So just simply, is that a yes? Okay. So where are we at?
I'm going to say goodbye and thank you, and we're going to continue our vacation.
Okay, enjoy. Thank you, Sumner, for checking in. For listening
Thank you.
to the public comment. That was great.
Thank you.
Okay, so again, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for voicing your opinions. We will reconvene on this on October 16th. I assume this is a dais discussion. We didn't ask for a workshop, so we're going to keep it brief.
That was my interpretation of the motion, and
Correct.
I think we heard a request for some information in background, so I think we understand that.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we'll let the room clear for a minute. Thank you.
Good night.
I was late on the button. Yeah. I was about to ask that very question. Yeah.
Why don't we all let you?
Thank you.
Listen to you.
Appreciate it. I wasn't quick enough on the button before we moved to a vote, but the question that you just addressed on the format of this next conversation was what I was going to raise. If indeed we're seeking new data, new documents, maybe even guest speakers, does that begin to sound more like a work session than in the spotlight pressure?
Well, and we could maybe do both, but the reality is you guys just moved to reconsider a decision that you made on the dais, so you need to reconsider that on the dais. That's kind of at some point we have to get there on the 16th, I guess.
Right.
Maybe the mayor and Steve can chat about whether we have time to do a little bit more in-depth work session ahead of that evening. I don't know.
I just worry, thank you. I just worry that the kind of extra information that we're now piling on.
Right.
Sounds like an overload for a multi-topic.
For a 15-minute discussion that it could be a little much, but well, I mean, we don't really need a motion to put anything in a work session, but we can actually agree, three of us, that we should have a half-an-hour work session on this the afternoon before. Is anybody in favor of this? Should we schedule that? Would that be helpful?
I'm not in favor of it. The only reason
Let me get you power.
Sorry, the only reason I asked that more information be shared is just background that we were privy to for being on council longer. I thought, and I see that as homework, just to get caught up in the details that seem a little bit like nebulous. But I feel like we have had extensive, what is
I
wrong
know
with the
it's
words
us
today?
tonight.
Extensive discussion on the topic. I think that we can have that continued conversation on the dais.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Townsley.
I just want to make sure I understand the vote that we just took correctly. We were voting on whether or not we would relook at having another vote, correct? We are not undoing a vote that we've already had.
No, not at all.
Okay. Just
Not
wanted
at
to make sure I was clear.
Well, yeah, I think you got it.
Our vote is still standing. I guess I didn't really know when we got involved in this that we were going to have votes and then undo votes, and then relook at votes, then have other people show up and say our vote was no good. So that's a little disconcerting.
Sometimes things like that happen. Councilor Zelinski?
I think that the burden is on us to get it right. And
agree.
so, when you have enough input that says, can you look at it again? There's a chance you didn't get it right. That bears weight with me to bring up further discussion. We may come to the same conclusion, but we will have that, conversation is all I see this as.
Councilor Schmal.
So I see two big issues in reconsidering this. One is the first lecture that I got when I joined council, that once council votes, it's done, and it's what we did. We did it as a council. Split vote, long vote, one vote. Once the vote is done, the vote is done. And that is being betrayed by this motion. Number two, I think somebody needs to tell us exactly why we weren't completely informed or how we were deceived when forced to vote last time. Because it was clear to me that it was kind of new ground, but CDOT is administering federal money. I was under the impression that the feds said, yeah, it's probably a little different, but yeah, tolling's okay. So either council was misinformed and we voted on something that we didn't have all the information on, or council is now betraying that sanctity of the lecture that I got when I first joined council.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Smith.
Thank you. I appreciate comments both from Councilor Zelinski. See, now I'm stumbling.
It's contagious, sorry.
On your very name. And from Councilor Schmal. In the first instance, yes, I think there is plenty of information to consider, and for some members to consider again. I think this is an important enough decision and clearly a topic on which community is divided in several different directions, and it warrants a thorough discussion. And for that very reason, I was suggesting that taking some thoughtful, less spotlighted, less hurried, because we have to stay on agenda format will be better suited to that discussion. I think a work session is a better deal. I also presumed to communicate with council members this week on the theme that Councilor Schmal highlighted, that it's important for us not to second guess our own votes until we do. The motion to reconsider by a member of the prevailing side on the original vote is completely legitimate under traditional and Robert's rules such. And I think that any vote that a council or other elected entity takes can be reconsidered, whether it's in that or just in a whole new motion from scratch. So I was contending and agreed with Councilor Schmal that we should stand by that unless and until we do something different. And I think the council has done that, and I appreciate that. I am open to the idea of further discussion, and obviously we're queued up for another vote. I just think that that next vote is going to be better informed if we take all the time we need and don't do it in a rushed or a pressured environment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that explanation. Anybody else? Okay, I'll see none. So at this point, we'll leave it alone. We'll see it on the dais on October 16th. And whatever time we need is what time we need, with additional information on traffic calming and CDOT present. That'd be great. That's what I would like to see. So, okay, thank you all for getting through this. Council announcements. Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
I have two. The first, I would like to congratulate Officer Chris Dietrich on his completion of the FBI National Academy. This is a very prestigious opportunity. Less than 3% of applicants are accepted into the program. In order to do so, he exceeded the Bureau standards and qualified. We now have 3 alumni of this program as part of our police force, including Chief Darris and Deputy Chief John Hassel. So we're very, very lucky to have these men as, part of our law enforcement. And I appreciate their continued commitment to excellence. So then the other thing is less exciting, But the airfare has been postponed. It will no longer be going on the 27th of this month. It probably will happen in the spring. There's just a lot going on with the airport and they just needed a little more time to put together a good event.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for the info. Counselor Townsley.
One quick thing from Parks and Rec Commission, the pickleball people showed up again with a much larger group. Seems kind of small right now, but just to let you know, it was considered by Parks and Rec. They did look at it. One of their issues was scheduling more time around there. The people that are in charge of scheduling time have given it quite a bit of effort and they're working with them hard to try to make that happen as much as they can.
Okay, thank you. Really quick, did they mention anything about coming to us again, or were they working out a proposal, or?
The commission's gonna come to us at this point.
Okay.
Parks and Rec is doing quite a bit with it. The kind of cost that they're looking.
I'm just curious.
The cost that they're looking at for pickleball courts for putting a group of them in is like $200,000 or $300,000.
Okay.
That's really not the budget now. We
Mm.
talked about, Aaron, you'd kind of mentioned something about maybe we give up a court, we do some other things where tennis courts get upgraded to make that a quick.
But that's not.
Okay. Okay, sorry, but anyway.
But the
These things
commission
we're
is,
all-
the commission
we're all
is involved.
talking about that.
Yeah.
The commission is, okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
So
Thank you.
they're looking at it, they're trying it, but it's not like they just said, no, we're not doing it.
Right.
They're doing the best they can.
Excellent, thank you. Counselor Smith.
Thank you. A handful of Historic Preservation Commission met last week and talked again about the proposed community garden greenhouse combination. Had some guest speakers from other garden club, Frontier Historic Museum and other sources. So it was more thoughtful, not more thoughtful, but more thorough discussion and a few more next steps forward. Also, the same commission is currently participating in what's called a Section 106 Historical Preservation Review of potential impacts along the Southbridge proposed route. There's going to be a tour on Monday at 10 a.m., Monday the 22nd, out at the Coke Ovens. The commission members will be there with city staff and any other members and anybody else are welcome to attend that. That review is based in a state historic preservation review code entry, but they're using as the background the historic preservation review that already occurred in the Southbridge EA. So they've got kind of a head start on that homework. I attended a meeting on September 9th of a brand new working group convened by the Colorado Department of Transportation to look at their plan to rebuild the bathrooms in Glenwood Canyon. I was invited not in a different identity, but the city parks department was also invited to this working group to kind of contemplate the whole array of potential impacts of reconstructing what turns out to be a historic landmark. This is what I was going to tell you on the side, Ray. Turns out that the highway through Glenwood Canyon now is an official state historic landmark. Thanks to, and the cover of the document that says that is a drawing of the high bridges. So it's a compliment to some work that's been done here. It's outside the city's purviews to some degree, but I'm going to stay in touch and let you know where that goes. Attended the Workforce Housing Authority Board meeting and had a very helpful presentation from former Councilwoman, former Mayor Ingrid Russo, enlightening the commission on kind of perspectives from the real estate world, realtors world, vis-a-vis affordable housing, workforce housing, assistance housing. So it really gave a nice, helpful perspective. It was very nice of her to show up and do that. At the RAFTA meeting, RAFTA Roaring Fork Transportation Authority Board meeting. Sorry, Aaron, I was waiting to see if you might highlight this, but I will if you don't mind. They met on September 11th and among other things on their consent agenda approved a letter of endorsement for a federal mineral leasing authority grant to help build the Coach Miller Drive. So they chipped in on that in the form of a letter. I also as I got your permission to do on Friday, I spoke as part of a panel discussion in Aspen hosted by Community Office for Resource Efficiency, talking about climate issues and community engagement opportunities among the various groups that are doing that, as well as individual communities. It was a really incredibly fascinating discussion. And some other conversations have come out of that that I've encountered since with core staff, with one of the Pickens County commissioners, and I'll again continue to have those conversations and relay where those go. It was a fun discussion. I've had briefings from staff in the last week from Garfield Clean Energy and from Clear, whatever Clear stands for. And they are working on their budgets, which in turn are going to kind of overlap with our budget a little bit. I have a GCE, we have a GCE board meeting tomorrow, so where we'll learn more about that process and can report back. It's an important partnership in which this city invests a lot of money. And so it'll be important to follow. I handed around to the other form of our desks earlier a letter that was sent to me just a couple of days ago from another of our partner organizations, the Colorado Community Organization for Climate Action, CC4CA. They are they're circulating a letter for signing on to oppose cutbacks at the Environmental Protection Agency on the authority of what's called endangerment finding, the ability, which gives the EPA an ability to review projects in the context of effects that they might have on climate damage. It's a quick turnaround. They want the signatures by tomorrow. They were asking for signatures from individual elected officials. I am not comfortable doing that individually unless this group might be comfortable either with various of us doing it or approving it as a group or giving me permission to do so. So at some point tonight, either now or at comments time at the end, I'd appreciate feedback from the council on whether I or any of us should sign this, because I don't want to run that solo. Monday, this is the last one, I think. Monday will be a Brush Creek Trail tour. You might remember Brush Creek Park in the vicinity of the cul-de-sacs in Glenwood Park. Brush Creek Trail connects that little park down to the Atkinson Canal Trail along the Roaring Fork River. There's been a lot of neighborhood concerns about the condition of that trail since it was used as a construction route to rebuild the Confluence Park down at 3 Mile and the confluence of the Roaring Fork River. So neighbors are being convened. City's done a really good job of publicizing it with signs and letters. Park staff, engineering staff, administrative staff will be there. I think at least 2 council members of us will be there. Others are welcome. Monday, the 22nd at 4 at the Little Brush Creek Trail at the top of the park. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for all the info.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, one more.
Just announced October, November, free fare on all RAFTA buses. They've got a grant and put a little bit of their own money. So every bus, throughout the system, Hogback, express buses, local buses, free for 2 months to all riders, an opportunity in their mind to try to boost ridership habits, but an opportunity for anybody else to get a free ride.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. I don't see any other announcement. My announcement is brief. Arts and Culture Board is looking for members. I think we're down 3 members due to changes in life situations. If you feel like you want to be part of the Arts and Culture Board, please go online, city website, and sign up for the Arts and Culture Commission. Thank you. With that, we'll move into the consent agenda, and I'm entertaining a motion. Mayor Pro Tem Selinsky.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as written.
Thank you. We have a motion. Looking for a second. Councillor Weimer.
Enthusiastic second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed? See none, thank you. Item 7, we moved. Moving on to item 8, ordinance 2025-27, code amendment to 07-0040070 regarding the construction of sidewalk. And we welcome Watkins.
Good evening, council. Thanks for the opportunity to present this information tonight as we turn our attention to the humble sidewalk. So this conversation began as a conversation about what barriers may exist in our land use regulations to accessory dwelling units, which I'm going to abbreviate to ADUs tonight, if that's okay. Sidewalks are sometimes one of them. So I'm going to start this discussion tonight. I don't have too much information for y'all besides what's in the staff report, but I'm going to start with the reasons why both sidewalks and ADUs are important to us. And ultimately, you council tonight are going to make a decision about the relative benefits of both things. So I'll first talk about sidewalks. When are they required, or when they're missing, how do they get built is another way of saying that. So sidewalks must be built or a fee in lieu paid for them first of all, when they're missing. And then on the following 2 development actions. When there's construction that involves changes to more than half the exterior walls of a building, or when there's an addition of at least 500 square feet. So what that kind of means in practical terms is when there's a fairly large construction project, someone replacing windows in their house, someone rebuilding a deck, that does not trigger the need to build a sidewalk. But when there is a construction project that's in which there's already some kind of significant investment being made, that's when we ask that they tack on something that's a little bit more of an investment, even though it has nothing to do with whatever they're building. So that's one way. The only other way that we get sidewalks is by capital expenditures, capital projects, when we come and do things like we're doing on Blake right now and build the sidewalks ourselves. Sidewalks are important for a lot of reasons. I don't know if I need to reiterate this to you guys very much, but almost every citizen in Glenwood uses sidewalks every day. Even if you're driving everywhere, you're walking at least part of where you're going. In transportation circles, they call that the last mile. So everyone walks at least a little bit, almost everyone does. And the sidewalks are often what you use to get to your final eventual destination. Walking and using sidewalks does not cause greenhouse gas emissions, but it does allow you to be more physically active and healthy. It's a way that we can see people and have conversations. It's part of both the literal and figurative fabric of our community. And they're also very important for safety. I would say that sidewalks are kind of the starting point when you talk about transportation and mobility. You move on from sidewalks to things like programs and grade separated paths to get to places, safe routes to school and things like that. Sidewalks are the starting point. ADUs are also important. They have a role in our housing market, although it's kind of a limited role. I say that it's limited because typically only 1 or 2 people live in an ADU. So that's not a lot of people in one structure. And then kind of thinking about it proportionally and the amount of money it costs to build one detached structure, one ADU, that's a lot more per person than it costs to build things like duplexes, triplexes, multifamily, even other things that we do like buy downs and subsidies for affordable housing projects. We get a much bigger bang for our buck when we do those other kinds of projects. But on the other hand, these ADUs are built by private developers. This is not a cost that we, the taxpayers, bear. And ADUs have the advantage of not really changing very much of the neighborhood character. They're in backyards, so it doesn't create too much more traffic or change the way the neighborhood looks. Our comprehensive plan talks about both of these things pretty extensively. I found 5 pretty on-point policies that relate to both sidewalks and ADUs. And so I'll just read them to you briefly. When it comes to ADUs, we have policies that state we want to increase housing density. We want to encourage accessory dwelling units. We want to consider policy changes to increase ADUs. We want to address the barriers to ADUs, such as parking, consider policy changes to increase ADUs. and we want to provide a diversity of housing types. When it comes to sidewalks, we want to enhance the pedestrian bicycle network. We want to improve the multimodal system and trail network that we have, including bike and pedestrian connectivity throughout town, filling sidewalk gaps between neighborhoods. We want to create a complete streets policy, and what that means is having streets that support all different types of modes to encourage alternative modes of travel. We want to support the extension of green transportation options and promote a multimodal mobility network. So what you're seeing here in both of these topics is that the comprehensive plan supports sidewalks and it supports accessory dwellings. That means that we kind of have a situation where if you're trying to make changes to support one or the other, it's a little bit of competing priorities. The Plan and Zoning Commission at their August meeting had a pretty robust discussion about this. And the majority of them recommended making some kind of change. What that specific change is, though, they did not quite agree. 3 commissioners were in favor of a flat fee for all accessory dwelling units, flat fee in lieu for sidewalks. And that was regardless of whether there's a sidewalk in place or not. A couple commissioners were in favor of taking a more proportional approach, proportional meaning, in terms of floor area of the addition. And a couple of commissioners recommended no changes. I want to mention that there are 18 streets that are exempted from our sidewalk requirements that I showed you in the second slide. I won't go through these, but they're included in the packet. And so like any code amendment that you all consider, there are 5 criteria of approval that need to be met. And so you all will need to, if you choose to make any changes, we'll need to make 5 findings of fact and how it meets these criteria. And I'm happy to help you out with that if the time comes. And with that, here is a pretty picture because I always like to close with that. And I'll take any questions that y'all have.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Any questions to staff at this point? Councillor Schmall. Yep.
Thanks, Watkins. So I was a little confused. A sidewalk from the new ADU to an existing city sidewalk would be required as part of the ADU. Is that correct?
Not quite. So that's a good clarification. When we're talking about sidewalks for the purpose of this discussion, we're talking about sidewalks that are on the street.
City sidewalks, what will become city sidewalks?
Yeah, not internal connections on a site.
So right now, the problem with the code as we have it is that there could be a proposed ADU on a street that has no sidewalks, and we would now require them to put a sidewalk in.
Or pay for it, yes, sir.
Even though there's none on either side of the sidewalk that they would put in.
That's right. That's right. And that's
what I thought.
That's the comment that we receive every time we have this conversation. Every time we have the conversation, someone pushes back and says, well, this is going to be a sidewalk to nowhere. What good does this do us? Why are you making me do this? And we try to explain that the only way that it stays that situation is that we never require someone to build the sidewalk. And that, it doesn't always go there. And we do have some examples in town where it was a sidewalk to nowhere and now it's not. So, that's a tough decision. People don't like this requirement, but people like sidewalks, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like we used to say at the P&Z, you got to start somewhere. And somebody has to start, and it'll keep building and building and building. And so, anyway, Councillor Smith.
Thank you. A little tiny point. Thank you for the list of streets exempted from sidewalks. I assume there's an individual history behind that exemption, street by street, that might vary. In general, looking at this list, it seems that they are streets that are short, steep, tiny, congested, or other kinds of physical constraints. Do you know why Uray and Sky Ranch drives are exempted? Because they are none of those. They're wide open, flat, big country, new development. Why wasn't it done right in the first place?
I don't know. Yeah, those are newer. I think the right of way, if I remember right, is significant there. I wasn't around when we came up with this list. And this list is obviously open to changes. If you all see fit, So I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that one.
And then my companion question, am I understanding the implication that these 18 streets would not be subjected to this ADU requirement, current or changed?
That's right. Any kind of development, if there were a vacant lot and they built a whole new house, if it were on one of these streets or one of the sides that's exempted, they would not have to build a sidewalk.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
Did you get as far as recommending what the amount of the flat rate fee or proportional fees would be?
No, P&Z did not go that far.
Okay, thank you.
Do you guys have a recommendation?
No, we're leaving that one to you.
Oh, you want us to come up with a fee? Councilman.
You want us to come up with a fee?
I think if that's the direction that y'all want to go at our next meeting, we can bring you some ideas.
Okay, yeah, exactly. I was gonna ask for like some, a little help here. Yeah. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Councilor Schmal.
Yeah, that's where I was headed also. It seems like a flat fee is probably the most equitable resolution to this. And I would guess it should be, we should think of it sort of like an impact fee. So however big the ADU is, anticipating how many people would live there, a comparable impact fee to what a single family residential or an apartment would be for the divided by the number of people that would be anticipated there.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Townsley.
What are you looking at as far as cost for putting sidewalks in? I mean, it doesn't seem to me to be having 15 people putting in different kinds of sidewalks at different sorts of places is something where we would want to go. Are we talking a huge cost or huge amount of fees that we're bringing in for specifically ADUs? If somebody's going to do a development, a big house, something like that, but when we're going to replace 25 feet of sidewalk, what is the cost to the city on that?
Everything is a little bit different based on the width and the type of sidewalk and how much of it we're doing.
Yeah,
but we can probably give you guys a pretty good idea of what the cost would be in, various cases when we get back together.
It seems like something the city wants to be in charge of instead of pushing off to a lot of various people. So that cost would be good.
Although I will note that we have standards for that. So we don't let them build whatever width they want. It's residential districts, it's 5 feet, and commercial districts, it's 8 feet. And we do have set fee in lieu amounts if they go the fee in lieu route.
If Matt's building the sidewalk, I'm going to feel pretty good about it.
Thank you. Any other discussion or questions, I should say? See none. Anybody from the public like to come forward about the sidewalks and the ADUs? See none. Close the public portion, bring it back. Now, we are talking about seeing this again. So should we continue this then and get more information from staff? Is this the direction? That's what I feel it should be. Yeah, because obviously I'm not comfortable coming up with a fee. So Mayor Pro Tem.
I was gonna say, if you give us clear direction, I think we can come back with.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking I would do here is,
We should motion it forward, right? Continue.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, sorry, a couple of things. I think it would be helpful to know what, if everybody wants to go with the fee, include that in the motion.
Sure.
the motion.
I know.
It says action, so we're taking an action.
I would like to make a motion that we explore at a future meeting the flat fee option to
Presented.
thank you. Explore the flat fee option.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion to continue essentially to see what staff comes back with for a flat fee, impact fee. Councilor Weinberg.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion on council? Councilor Smith.
I'm looking down the way, and if that doesn't work, then I'll ask. Is funding from the newly recharged Streets and Infrastructure Fund a potential source of building sidewalk gaps in general, ADUs or otherwise? And if so, would that have don't have to answer it now. That's the information that'd be helpful to have for this continuance. Whether the 2C money should or could be implicated.
Not 2C.
Yeah.
2C is
2C.
2A. It's 2A. 2C is housing.
Sorry, 2A.
All
Thank
good.
you very much.
Thank you. Any more discussion? See none, just to be clear, we have a motion to continue this item till either next meeting or a future meeting, whenever you guys are ready. And a second, call for the question. Since this is an ordinance, we'll do it with button.
Is Counselor Schachter off?
Yeah.
Okay.
He went back to the Mai Tais.
It passes 6-0.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Watkins. Item 9, update to landfill regulations and safety controls on site. Matt Langhorst, please.
Good evening, council. 1 second. Good evening, council. This is a discussion we've been kind of having at the landfill for a while now and trying to figure out how to accommodate for, as in the staff report says, kind of 4 main items at this moment. One is no smoking at the landfill, no scavenging at the landfill, which is people going out into the trash or the metal piles or whatever it is, kind of rummaging around and coming back with things. I know we like to recycle, but that's pretty dangerous. No hazardous waste dumping, which you think would be common sense, but is something we do have problems with up there. And then speeding through the site also is an issue for us. So I kind of put a quick staff report together just to explain why each of these is a problem. Obviously, no smoking. It's hazardous out there. Things can catch on fire. We don't want them to catch on fire in the wilderness because we're adjacent to it. We don't want any scavenging for the reason I mentioned. No hazardous waste is. A lot of times it's car batteries, electric batteries, those kinds of fun things. They mysteriously disappear from a car as they're driving up to the front face, and we find them. They can also start on fire, and they're very expensive to recycle. And then the no speeding actually comes back to our air permit. We have to keep the roads, call it dust free as much as humanly possible, because the more dust, you can see it. It actually violates our air permit through the state of Colorado. So we water the roads to keep the dust down. The faster you go, the faster they dry out, the higher the dust goes, those kinds of fun things. So it's actually kind of an air permit / safety issue in itself. We would like to be able to figure out a way, and Carl's going to talk about this in a second, on how to kind of one warning, make it a verbal warning with a written notice, and a verbal and written at the same time kind of thing. Second warning is kind of like a $50 fine. We'd like to kind of progress up. And at some point you have to just say, hey, you can't come back here anymore, kind of thing, because we do have multiple violators for scavenging quite a bit. They come back and they were like, hey, I wasn't doing anything, but we're watching them. I mean, we can see almost the entire landfill depending on who's looking from where. So we know that these things are occurring. So how to do this is kind of a Carl question, because we don't have a PD out there. We don't have radar guns, those kinds of fun things. And how can we implement fines and kind of bring this to a fruition, I guess. And I'm going to throw it over to Carl.
Yeah, this is one of those. It's kind of interesting. We really struggled with, we have struggled with in South Canyon, the landfill as well as South Canyon in general. With the legislative change that allows us, and this is going to sound a little funny, but bear with me, legislative change that allows us to enforce on parklands, the landfill is actually included within the South Canyon parkland designation in the code. And so I think what we're going to do is develop a specific set of code provisions related to the parkland that is our landfill, so that because part of the problem is that this goes to kind of the conversation earlier about the resources that, say, the sheriff's office has to go out and enforce it because it's out in the county. And so at least that would give us some ability to utilize our PD or code enforcement to help out at the landfill. How we get to things like speeding is going to be a little more complicated probably, and that may just require some occasional ask of the PD to give us a little bit of extra resources, an unmarked car and a radar gun occasionally, randomly. I think once it gets out that we're doing that, I think that will have an impact on the kind of behavior that we see. So that's kind of our workaround. I know it sounds a little goofy, but it is in fact part of the parklands that we have designated out there. And I think it is a defensible position and approach to take to try to get Matt and his team at the landfill some support on the code enforcement side.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from you?
I know this is kind of an oddity to do in a session in the
Yeah.
evening. I wanted to do it as a work session, but those are kind of full for quite a while. So I thought this is a good way at least to get your thoughts on
Absolutely.
these 4 items. If you had anything additional you thought we could add to it, or if you had any conversation you wanted to bring up.
Sounds great. Thank you, Matt. Mayor Pro Tem Zelensky.
Are those, you know how like in construction areas or sometimes around town, there'll be like a temporary kind of a speed, like, I don't even know what it is. It's like a sign that says, you know, slow down, you're going 32 miles an hour or whatever. Are those effective in like, can you utilize that as a tool?
So funny you asked that. We had one of the EVOL signs we have that are on Grand Avenue, which are quite effective, actually. People see them. A lot of people are cognizant of that and they'll slow down and get back down to the green. We had we'll call it a spare one we've just put up there. Turns out the batteries are bad. We'll have new batteries next week. And we have multiple speed limit signs. There's probably 10 speed limit signs out there just on the one road that says 15 miles per hour. This would be just kind of a visual that will flash at you a little bit, just to remind you to slow down. So if we find that to be effective, the one we currently have, we might add them in a couple other places. They're not super expensive.
Okay, because I was
So,
thinking
yes.
that might help with enforcement a little bit too, because then you could be like, it's right there, you're going too fast.
That was one of the thoughts also, is when you get a mountain waste truck, or I'm not saying they do this, but if you get somebody coming downhill a little bit fast, especially in the wintertime, it can kind of let them know, hey, look at your speedometer, slow down a little bit. Because in the wintertime, the trucks do slide if they're going too fast. So we just kind of want everybody to be safe and not have to pull them out of the ditches.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councilor Smith.
With this contemplated affirmed authority, basically, because we basically have this authority available, what's the mechanism for that? Are the landfill employees deputized, or can they issue?
No, well,
Wish.
yeah, you got pulled over by a D9. So going over 15. No, we would have to have an officer come out and deal with that. But I think some of that, I mean, some of those violations, some will have employees that can identify who it was and when it happened, and we can serve them someplace else in town. I mean, the good news is most of the time you're going through the scale, so we know who you are.
Right.
But as far as like speeding, speeding is probably the toughest one, because you need to have an officer that is certified to do that. And that's harder to get on just kind of a citizen's complaint basis, but that'll be, it'll be just asking for some resources to be diverted out there occasionally to follow up on those things.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Townsley.
One of your bad players out there is a good friend of mine, so I will also talk to him about this. Maybe that would be a better approach than wasting time of an officer or somebody out there. So I'll bring that up and see if there's anything we can do that way too. But I'll give it a good shot.
We're not picking on anybody individually. This is a global problem.
I was going to say some of these problems, the waste, the scavenging, there are multiple speeders. It's one of those areas that has just always been a little bit of the Wild West when you roll into the landfill, sometimes any landfill. And so this is just tightening up a little bit. But I do think that to the air quality, hazardous waste, I mean, we're fighting through a lot of air quality regulations right now, rulemakings to try to get that at a, rational level. So anything we can do to stay compliant is super important to us.
Thank you. Councilor Schmall.
What's the difference between the speed cameras we're putting around the city and that we might put in the landfill?
So the speed camera in the landfill is just a observation thing. It doesn't really record your plate, or it doesn't send a ticket.
No, I know that's what we have now.
Yeah.
But instead of sending officers up there, why don't we just?
Yeah, and we could definitely take a look at that. I mean, part of the that particular product, it's a vendor that does it for us, and so we certainly could have a conversation with them about installing equipment out there. I think part of it would be the quality of the internet connection, and I don't remember where we're at.
I think your return on investment would be really low.
Yeah, I think the return on that, I think that's why it'd be hard to get them to do it, but it's certainly something we could talk to them about if, you know.
If it persists, that's not a bad idea to potentially go that approach. Most of the time, I want to say 99.8% plus or minus a little variable there. If you talk to somebody, they don't really know what the rule is. So they'll just say, I'm sorry about it, and we'll move on. There are some persistent scavengers or some persistent smokers or some persistent speeders, but it's very, very few. And we're going to put a sign up at the beginning. Basically, it states all of these things. It's no smoking, no scavenging, and, you know, maybe a little bit of a why kind of thing. Big one. So as you come in, you're agreeing to these rules as you come on site, whether we can abide by or enforce them or not. You know, it's just a little bit of reminder so we don't have to stop somebody and say, these are the rules. You read them on the way in kind of thing. So we'll probably put them again at the scale.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Just a quick thought. We have, and since we're revamping Midland between 8th and 27th with some real life cameras, from what I understand, we have those 2 speed alert signs that have not worked in, I don't know, a year and a half, maybe 2 years. Because
Longer than that, yeah.
Longer than that. You know which ones I'm talking
yeah.
about. Well, they can probably be refurbished and put up there permanently.
It's actually cheaper to buy new ones than to refurbish those two. I just haven't taken them down.
Recycle. I'm trying to fix and
Take them down and we will recycle them for sure.
Then get a hacksaw, get rid of
I
them.
got a price for that, and it's
Okay.
actually cheaper to buy new ones.
Fair enough. I just had a thought.
Sorry.
All right, great. What do you need from, what else?
I just want to make sure everybody's in support of at least these 4. We might come back with some more in the future just to add to the sign, and
Probably don't.
Carl will go through. We'll do a little ordinance.
Okay.
Just so that we can make sure everybody understands the park powers in this area, those kinds of fun.
So we probably don't need an official vote on this. We can just head nod and say,
Head nod and
I
as long as
like
you
your
guys are okay.
suggestion.
Just looking for a head nod and something not in a
absolutely.
work session.
Go for it. Go for it.
Head nod.
Head nod?
Moving on.
I didn't see all head nods.
No.
Okay.
Okay, now we got some head nods. Okay, great.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Mitchell Cooper, bring it back to a different desk.
Brian, come back in from cleaning the kitchen.
Look at that. Look at that.
Loading up. Council just asked for a quick update on.
Don't even.
Okay, there we go. Okay, yeah, yes, we're doing. Sharing the slides. Okay, exactly. Like, this is great. Yeah, it's amazing being an idiot. Okay, thanks.
We lined up.
All right, so council, a few meetings ago, wanted a quick update on Mitchell Cooper and where all of that stands. So I figured we'd do that. I've got about 4 slides. If I can get the 4, there we go. So I just wanted to, there we go. So just to orient everybody real quickly, the area that we're talking about that's receiving city water through Mitchell Cooper pipes right now. This is roughly the area you can see. It kind of starts sort of there to the west side around Vico's and then runs to Six Canyons.
Any of the colored areas.
Any of the colored areas are no longer being served or no longer receiving water from Mitchell Cooper. Those are directly connected to city mains. Everything else is receiving city water, but through Mitchell Cooper pipes. So I just wanted to orient y'all so that you kind of knew where that was. A little bit of history. 2018 CDPHE places Mitchell Cooper underneath the boil order that effectively remains in effect to today. So it's been about whatever that is, 7 years. There again, in 2018, we started providing potable water to all of the users, the shareholders of Mitchell Cooper in 2018. At that time, we had a number of discussions about moving them over to city infrastructure, those water users. And then in 2021, CDPHE informed the city that Mitchell Cooper intended to update their treatment system. Nothing happened. 2023, city council decided to provide a can and will serve letter to RAFTA for the development of critical workforce housing. At that time, that housing is now online and serving employees of RAFTA. So that was actually a really great success. That triggered several months of settlement negotiations with Mitchell Cooper in 2023. We were incredibly close to resolving that. And at the last minute, Mitchell Cooper pulled out of those discussions. 2024, Mitchell Cooper filed suit against the city in RAFTA. It took them until May of 2025 to get all the right parties served and identified in that lawsuit. And in early May, the case came at issue, which meant that all the claims and counterclaims had been answered and the case was ready to move forward with mandatory discovery exchanges, which occurred in late May of 2025. The city provided something like 90,000 pages of documents. Mitchell Cooper provided 30. So we had a series of additional requests for information that resulted in a what we would call a discovery dispute. Ultimately, the judge ordered Mitchell Cooper to respond to that. That order came out in late August. We're waiting for the responses ordered by the court. So it's kind of where we're at today in terms of the court case. We have some other issues going on. As of today, Mitchell Cooper, the company owes the city $52,000, $789.89 for water that has been delivered, but that the company has not paid for. And I want to emphasize that that's the company. We don't have a relationship with individual users that receive that water through Mitchell Cooper pipes. So our one customer is the Mitchell Cooper company. With any other water customer that fails to pay, the city would need to decide when to terminate service and whether or not to proceed with collections. So we're probably approaching that point when I'm going to need some direction on, and we've been, as we probably do with a lot of water users, we don't really want to cut people off, but we are $52,000 in arrears to the company that is reselling that water. And so I don't know that you need to take an action tonight, or if you want to schedule it for a future meeting to take action, we certainly queued it up that you could if you wanted to address those 2 points. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Carl. Councillor Townsley.
Are the people that are signed up for Mitchell Cooper Water, are they making payments to Mitchell Cooper and they're just sitting on the money, or are they getting free? Is no money ever being paid?
We don't know. And the reason for that is they're not our customers, so we don't know what's going on there. And we have very little information about the internal workings of Mitchell Cooper.
Is there any way through your court work with them that we can suggest that Mitchell Cooper should be responsible for maintaining in an escrow fund any funds that they're collecting?
Yeah, I think that certainly we could get to that point. The outstanding bills currently aren't part of the lawsuit that was filed against the city and we counterclaimed on. Certainly our hope is that if we got the discovery that we would be entitled to underneath that court case, we'd have a better understanding of what's happening with the flow of money within the company. We just don't have that right now. I think that I think we would probably need to bring a separate action, which is why I suggested that one of the actions you may want to take is a separate collection action against the company for the monies in arrears, to do exactly what you're saying, is to make sure the money that is being paid by their customers or their shareholders to the company is actually going where the shareholders intended it to go. So like I said, we don't know what's going on sort of behind the curtain, if you will, because the company is our customer, not those individual shareholders.
Councillor Small.
I thought 3 or 4 or 5 meetings ago, we gave the head nod to begin action, whether it be notifying the customers that you were going to quit serving water to their provider because they're not paying their bill?
We did. We provided notice to there again, we don't have a relationship, a direct relationship with the shareholders or the customers. We did send a letter at council's direction, notifying them that they were in arrears and that we were either going to need to cut them off or potentially file a legal action. So they've been on notice that this could be coming.
Mr. Cooper and the customers, right?
Well, we can't, they're not our customers, so we can't, we don't have a relationship with them to tell them that information.
They are
citizens. They are our citizens, but they're also shareholders in a company that is at.
There are
within limitation
citizens,
with it.
there are citizens, and they're the ones we're trying to protect from cutting off Mitchell Cooper's water.
Right. Our difficulty is that we're in the middle of this litigation. They are shareholders of the company, and so really we are obligated to communicate with them, at least in a formal capacity, through the company. So like, I can't send out a letter to every shareholder that says your water's about to be cut off. That would be inappropriate for me to do as the attorney in the middle of a lawsuit. And so.
Is it inappropriate for our water department to do that?
Well, there again, probably, because our customer is the company. It's not those individual shareholders. Part of the reason for this update is hopefully people are listening and understanding the struggle that we are in, that the city is trying very hard to make sure that, I mean, we have been providing them, it is our water they've been using for the last 7 years. We don't want any of our citizens to be cut off, but we also have this issue that we don't want the rest of our ratepayers to be subsidizing and funding a for-profit company that's selling them water.
I maybe have a conflict of interest. I should disclose, with what I'm paying to water my lawn, I might buy water from Mitchell Cooper.
Counselor Smith, please.
Follow that. I think I am going to follow that with kind of a variation on Councilor Small's question. Well, but again, we may not know what goes on inside this other company. Physically, what would happen if the city cut off its supply to the company and thus to their customers? Do they have their own supply from historic sources that just is of a lower quality, or?
They could supply water that needed to be boiled to be potable. Right. And I don't actually even know if they, at this point, Matt, I don't know if they could supply water.
They would have to re-hook it up. It's not currently hooked to the system.
Yeah.
So if you cut off the company and thus cut off the customers, it's not like that afternoon they would get a different supply of water. It'd be weeks before they got water at best.
However long it would take them to re-establish that connection.
Yeah. And I mean, we struggle mightily. I mean, I have to keep repeating, we struggle mightily with this because those are residents of Glenwood. We want people to have safe drinking.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
So what would be the process for, do you start a collection against the outstanding debt? Is there any sort of a public notice or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it would be a lawsuit. We would file in district court because of the amount. We'd file in district court against the company to collect outstanding amounts owed to the city, just like we would with anybody else who had a debt to the city that wasn't being paid and was non-responsive to the demand letter that we sent out.
And am I correct in recalling they're already getting a discounted rate on water?
They are, yes, they are getting water at a rate that does not include any of the typical overhead or system improvement maintenance costs that we would factor into a water rate. So they are at what compared to our water users is a discounted rate. So that actually is probably something Matt and I will bring back to you to just recognize that that shouldn't be the case anymore and bring that in line with our regular bulk rates.
And then my last question is, 52,000, that relates to how long of a period of usage have they neglected to be paying?
We're all looking back.
Yeah,
That goes back to about January.
It probably goes back to January. Then there have been sporadic payments that are, you know, like I think we got a payment of $2,000 yesterday or the day before.
Okay.
You know, the last bill that was sent out, I believe was about, if I'm remembering correctly, about $8,500.
Okay.
So, and sometimes we get random numbers, you know, 1,034 or something like that. I mean, I don't remember the exact number. So, what's being supplied is obviously is significantly more than what is being paid.
Got it. I just wanted to make sure that they hadn't like missed a month. Like this is.
No, this is pretty chronic.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Schmull.
One more question. When I don't pay my water bill, does city council have to approve my water being cut off?
No, but we're approving, it affects a large number of your citizens and we just wouldn't feel comfortable turning the valve.
So if I have everybody on my street not pay their water bill,
Well, right.
then council would have to.
Yeah, then we would probably,
Decide to
if
clean
your
up.
neighborhood rebelled together with you.
You'd have to recuse yourself.
have to recuse yourself.
Counselor Smith.
Thank you. Since it's not the neighbors in this case who are rebelling, and while the city is not comfortable sending individual communications to the residents, to the neighbors, are there other means where this cutoff threat could be announced?
Well, I mean,
Public notices in the
yeah,
formal
I mean,
register, posters on the street side, news stories.
my hope is maybe there's a news story regarding this conversation we're having tonight. I mean, what we would do is send a note. We sent a letter that said, look, we're going to have to cut you off or sue you. And I mean, the obligation is on the company to communicate with their customers. Like,
And that's what I'm saying. That letter is going to people who are thumbing their nose. So do we need a different form of communication that would get around that company?
No,
to
I mean,
the
my hope
residents?
would be that the press would cover this. I am hesitant and conservative about trying to end run the rules that apply to me as an attorney engaged in litigation with the company, which is why I'm giving you a very public update. We're having this conversation. You are my client. This is totally appropriate. I would not be comfortable with us taking out ads in the newspaper or trying to some other way end run the fact that these are shareholders of a company and that has chosen to sue the city. We're in active litigation. And I think that, you know, obviously there are probably some residents out there in, say, the mobile home park or in apartments that are not shareholders. The property owner is a shareholder that would be impacted by this. But I have to recognize that the actual shareholders of the company are who we would be communicating with, and they are represented by their company and have an attorney, and that's who I'm supposed to be dealing.
Thank you.
Oh, you on Mayor Pro Tem Zelensky.
Matt, can you give me a ballpark of how many residents are impacted by this particular question?
I think it was 80 residences.
It was between 80 and 100.
Yeah.
If you count the trailers, the units and some of the hotels that are long-term stay or whatever they're calling them, those things, it's got to be somewhere between 80 and 100. And also to note, if we did make a decision on to not supply water, if there was a decision made, CDPHE would like to know that in advance.
Right.
Yeah. They would like a letter from us notifying them that decision and the dates that they.
Yeah, I mean, if we were going to go down that road, I would put a 90-day window on it probably so that we could notify CDPHE. I think there are two, you know, if you wanted to take action to collect the outstanding amounts, you could either do that in conjunction with the shut off notice, or you could do one or the other.
So that was going to be my next question is like, is there a way that we could combine the two where, you know, we file with district court for the past due amount and then put them on notice that.
Absolutely. You guys could do, and that's why I kind of framed it that way. I mean, we really have, you know, a combination of those two choices. They're the two tools in the toolbox.
And I would be more comfortable with a kind of a long period of time because that gives pressure to the entity, yet also doesn't deny people a basic service of clean water.
Yeah.
Councilor Schmull.
Matt, I didn't understand. We said CDPHE would like to know in advance so that they can mitigate the consequence of us shutting off water?
So my last conversation with them probably 2 or 3 years ago was, hey, what if we shut the water off? And because of conversations. And they said we would like to know in advance so that we could do they're basically going to provide bottled water to all the residents so they don't have to boil drinking water. So CDPHE would reach out to that district, figure out how many people are there and what kind of potential bottled water supply they may want to help provide. That was the conversation back then. I don't know what it would take right now.
Hey, Matt, could you speak at the podium? Thanks.
Oh, will we restate all of that? The conversation a year or two ago for the CDPHE was they would like to know in advance so they could provide drinking water help to that district. The district obviously is in, we'll call it distress. They are not able to provide their own water. Instead of people have to boil water to drink it, because that's in essence what they would have to do out of their faucets. CDPHE was talking about providing them bottled water for whatever duration of time it takes them to get their own system back up and running. That's just why they would like to know it in advance. I haven't talked to them in the last, I don't know, year or two, so I don't know if that opinion has changed or not. I can't imagine it has changed much.
But you think that's what they would do if we told them we were shutting off the water?
That is what they said.
So instead of us providing our citizens water at a cost of whatever it is that's not being paid, CDPHE would provide that water if we shut it off.
They have funds available to them for these types of situations.
Thank you. Any other questions? See none?
Hey, Matt, in case people do watch this, could you say what CDPHE stands for?
Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment.
Excellent. Thank you. So, we got information, we got an update, bring it back to us. Not sure I'm entertaining a motion quite yet, but let's do at least a discussion on how we think we want to move forward. Mayor Pro Tem Solinsky.
So, having heard this conversation for a little bit of time now, I'd be really comfortable with proceeding with trying to collect the outstanding debt and put the company, Mitchell Cooper, on notice, with the hope that that would get them to take some action. I like the idea of making it a long enough period of time so that there's a smaller degree of likelihood that we will have residents without clean water. So that would be my recommendation.
Thank you. Councilor Schmall.
Carl, go get them. We've messed around with this long enough. Cut them off.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Councilor Weimer.
Thank you, Carl. You reminded us that a while back we had kind of had the same conversation. You said you sent them a letter. What did that letter say or do? And what would the next action be?
Yeah, it's
different or similar to this letter.
Yeah, no, it is. So what the letter said, I should have included it in your packet. I apologize. The letter said, which I think was sent in June after we met, and I updated you. The letter that was sent in June said you have an outstanding balance due. You need to pay that, or the city may take one of several actions, one of which is to file suit for collection, one of which is to cut off your water supply. So really the next step, I think, following up on that letter is for you guys to make the decision whether or not to direct me to file suit against the company for outstanding amounts owed and to set a deadline to send them a notice on a water cutoff.
So I'm not in favor of an angrier letter. That doesn't seem right. So I think the next step, and it feels aligned up here, is a step of action. And so I guess help clarify for me, the action could be we file suit in district court
To collect the amounts that are owed.
tomorrow,
Right, yep.
right? And those things take time, and there's stays and delays and all of those things, right?
Yep.
Or we set a date, and it stinks 90 days from now is Christmas, right? So, right? But we set a date and we say, on this date, you will no longer have water unless these things happen,
Right, unless your payments are up to date.
whatever those things, yeah, payments and whatever.
So we could do one or both or all.
Okay,
So
okay.
You good?
May I make, Mr. Mayor, may I make a motion?
Sure, absolutely.
Let's go for it. So I would move that we direct Mr. Hanlon to proceed with a filing in district court as early as tomorrow, really, whenever, you know, he can get everything pulled together, and proceed immediately down the legal path, asking Mitchell Cooper to make themselves whole. Or to, you know, I don't want to be flip, to
pay their arrears.
pay their arrears. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Zelinski.
Would you entertain adding a stop service order to that as well?
How would that work? So it would be.
So we would file in district court and also serve
So we're gonna.
Mitchell Cooper with
90 days, whatever.
Yeah,
So it would be. So we're gonna file in court to say you owe us 53, we're suing for $53,000 roughly.
or whatever amount, because
Yeah.
I'm assuming
at
it
that
goes up
time,
daily.
yeah. And we're giving
Yeah.
you so many days
Yep.
to pay.
No,
Yeah.
to figure it out, to
Before
come
we
to
shut
some
it
sort
down.
of.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I think the cutoff notice would be related to paying.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it wouldn't be tied to anything else.
It would be, it
Yeah.
would be
It would
paid to figuring out this whole.
Yeah.
suit
And I think
counter-
they are,
Yeah.
yeah, I think they are parallel paths. I agree with you. 90 days puts it at Christmas. I'd suggest 120 to get.
That's
us
what I
to
was gonna say,
January.
the 120 days.
Martin Luther King Day.
Steve is laughing because it's the first time he's ever seen me be compassionate.
Merry Christmas.
So
But wouldn't and I guess I just don't understand, wouldn't the
Make it
lawsuit,
easy, just easy.
wouldn't the lawsuit cause them to pay?
well, because
What if they don't?
right now, I mean, we've been in a legal situation with them.
Okay,
It's
so they would
not
fight
even
that,
like-
that would go on and
Yeah,
on and
I
on.
feel like the intent to cut off service is the thing that would give some teeth to the lawsuit. Otherwise, I'm afraid that it'll just continue to drag out.
Okay.
Just to clear, the second lawsuit that
Right.
you're intending to say.
Right.
Yes, the new one.
Yes,
The
the
new
new
one,
one.
right.
Yes, they would fight it.
Yeah,
and
not
potentially
the,
drag
not
it
the
on
other
through.
one.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I-
that's, yeah.
So yes, I would. So I guess I will amend my motion. To add to the direction to file suit in district court, to also serve notice of shut off to the Mitchell Cooper Water District effective 120 days from today. If
I second.
if by that point payment has not been made.
Correct.
Excellent. Motion and a second. Everybody clear on the motion and the second? Okay, excellent. We'll call for the question.
Yes, Counselor Townsley. Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski. Yes, Mayor Dem. Yes, Counselor Weimer. No, Counselor Schmall. Yes, Counselor Smith. It passes 5-1.
Thank you.
And Ryan, I will break it if I try to fix the screen.
All right. Ryan will fix it. That was our last item for tonight. Thank you. Thank you for the update. I hope this direction is going to actually resolve this issue. I hope so. It'll resolve something. Okay, excellent. We almost have arrived at the end. I'm going to call councilors for comments. Councilor Smith. We'll start with you.
Oh, you're just going in order. Thank you.
Yep.
The central portion of Blake Avenue, north of 23rd and 23rd itself are dazzling, ribbon cutting notwithstanding. They work. The street's open, the 8-foot shared use path is all cleared, and congratulations to Public Works, to contractors, to engineering, to the citizens who voted in the Streets and Infrastructure Fund revival. It's a big success. So thank you very much for that. I'll come back to the letter I mentioned earlier, and we passed around, and the city manager sent to your email queue to basically ask the question: is the council comfortable with one or more of us signing on to this letter as individuals, although we would have our title attached? I'm not comfortable doing it without your blessing.
Okay, you, Councilor Smith, posed a question about the EPA letter, support letter. Anybody like to answer? I can start. I'm personally not comfortable signing it with you or without you, so I'll pass. Thank you.
That's easy. Thanks.
For me, I mean, maybe there's others. Just
Yeah,
give
I'm
it a
just waiting
second.
for
Some of them are reviewing it. We got Councilor Townsley.
I would say that I don't have enough to have an opinion. If you wanted to do it, it wouldn't bother me in the least.
Very nice. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
I concur. I feel it's the same. If I don't have any problem with Counselor Smith, if this is something that you feel passionately about and wanted to sign your name to it.
Go for it.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
And then I have one more comment, if we're made the round on that.
Yep.
I'll plant a procedural idea regarding executive sessions. I've been to only 2, but I've heard about others that go along. They're typically sessions that have difficult or sensitive materials. We seem to end up doing them late at night because of kind of a traditional convene a normal meeting time, tack it on to the end. I'd like to plant the idea for discussion among staff or council or a combination thereof of doing executive sessions at a different time of day altogether on a different day, timing the difference so that they're not wagging the dog and having us not at our best when we're trying to take on the most complicated topics. A thought to consider. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Weimer.
Nothing.
Thank you. Councilor Townsley.
Yeah, I get
Microphone, please. Yep, thank you.
These are separate pieces. They are related. One of them I'm going to leave until we have our session that we talked about. This is all in relation to Southbridge. I'll leave the Southbridge part out of this. Executive sessions, let's start there. Is material that's in executive sessions, I understood we're not supposed to talk about. It's not supposed to leave the executive session. Is that correct?
That is typically the case unless council agrees on releasing something or,
I know there's a lot of public information about Southbridge, but it seemed like maybe everybody out there had said in on the executive sessions that we'd had about it. They're, just everybody's very well informed about what we knew, what we didn't know. And I'm one for really not trying to hide anything. But I really felt like in this sense, there was a vote. And I really want to get the vote right. Don't hear me saying that I don't want to make the right decision that's the best for Glenwood. But I have a feeling that there was a lot of behind the scenes work done in the last 2 weeks to get us to where we were tonight. And that makes me really uncomfortable. And I hope that's not the case, but that's the way I feel. And I think we should be very careful about that in the future. I'd like to get the vote right. I voted to support Councilor Shackner to make sure that happens. I still have a lot of concerns, but I'll leave that for another time. But I really feel that the way the vote went that night and what's happened in the 2 weeks since, it just makes me very uncomfortable. That's my 2 cents worth.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Small. Nothing. Councilor Zelinski. No, good. I got nothing tonight, so I'm good. Steve Boyd.
Thank you. I hear what you're saying, Dave. The one thing I would add is that I do think that we had a public session where a lot of that same information was probably said. So I don't know, I kind of lose track of whether or not something was said in the executive session that was not said out in the open after that.
Yeah, I was called by citizens, some of whom were out there, that let me know all the information they had that I thought was.
That some of it might not be.
Probably, if they got it, it came from somewhere. But I don't think it was published in the paper.
Yeah.
Okay, the only other thing I have, Trent Hyatt is in the back of the room. Welcome, Trent. He is our new Director of Community Development. I think everybody has already met him or know him. Welcome, Trent. And also in between Hannah and Trent's arrival, Director of Operations Tim Bergman stepped in and led that department. We actually had a couple of sort of difficult curveballs that came along, and I was both very impressed and appreciative of how you handled those, Tim. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. City Attorney.
Yeah, I mostly just I wanted to give you a little bit of an update. Last 2 days, the hearings have been going on down in Durango with the Colorado Water Conservation Board regarding the Shoshone in-stream flow right. I believe those have wrapped up at this point. I don't know. I haven't been tracking it. It was going on for some time. I wanted to thank some Garfield County residents that testified on our behalf, as well as my senior associate, water associate, Danielle Skinner, who dropped her very young child off with daycare yesterday morning to stay overnight so that she could drive down and help manage that on behalf of the city of Rifle and Glenwood Springs, as well as helping out Garfield County. And those 3 residents, along with Matt, who provided written testimony to the CWCB on the issue, Tom Harrington, who manages the Crystal River Ranch, is a longtime ag supporter and voice across the state, as well as in Garfield County, testified on behalf of Garfield County on the importance of the river and those flows to the agricultural industry. Perry Will, County Commissioner, as only Perry can, testified at the hearing with some of the great anecdotes that Perry is capable of. For any of you guys that have been around Perry a long time, you know that. As well as Gregory Cowan, who is the owner of Defiance Rafting, formerly Rock Gardens, also sits on your planning commission, who took time from a busy work schedule to drive down to be there in person and testified as well. And I really just wanted to say thank you, because that is what makes Glenwood and Garfield County what they are, is that people stepping up on a really important issue. And it was also a great issue that, sometimes the county and the cities rub each other the wrong way, but it is an instance where, we walked into that together. Heather Beatty, the county attorney, had reached out to me to help coordinate all of this. Along with, obviously the clients that I have and we have in the Valley. So anyway, I just really wanted to kind of end on that note, that sometimes it is amazing to see us come together, both as Glenwood Springs, as Garfield County, but also the West Slope users on the Colorado River presented a really strong voice, being led by the River District. I would say on a procedural note that the River District, as the applicant in that case, did agree to a continuance of the hearing to the next CWCB meeting in November for purposes of decision making, so that otherwise the CWCB would have had to make a decision in the moment today. And so they did extend it for that. And also they have been engaging in some conversations and negotiations with the Front Range regarding all of this. But anyway, just kind of wanted to end on that it's a great thing to see. And it was fun to watch all the testimony and all the various people from all across the western slope of Colorado, and how important the river is. And, Glenwood is right here at the epicenter of all of that. So that's what I had.
Okay, thank you. Any correspondence? Mr. Muse.
Sorry, I was doing a public notice.
Not tonight, right?
Yes, we do have one.
Oh, we do? Well, let us know what it is. Do a dance. Do a sing and dance. Yeah.
Is this a good dance? Sorry, I moved the letters in and out of this.
It better be good now, Ryan.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's the best one yet. So it's a thank you for FAB grant. And it's from Great Expectations and Pathfinders.
Excellent. Thank you for letting us know.
Thank you
Social-
for the Great Expectations.
Absolutely. Social event. And now do whatever Mayor Pro Tem Selinsky, pick whatever you'd like. Social event.
What was it called? Tapatio?
Sure.
Yeah, let's go back there. We're gonna go back to Tapatio.
Oh. Great idea. Okay, social event, the meeting's been moved over to El Tapatio. I think it's, I don't know what
Tapatio, whatever.
the name is exactly. Thank you.
Speaking,
I know, me too.
especially today.
So I'm entertaining a motion to adjourn. Yeah, I know.
So moved.
Excellent. Second,
Second.
Weimer second.